What's going on, people? Welcome to United View and welcome to the preview for the big one. Man United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. No, you ain't got no "the" in front of you. That's not how it is. Yeah? It's AFC, yeah? It's not TAFC. You're just Arsenal, mate, yeah? Which means we've had to bring in Robbie. We've had to bring in Don Robbie, you know what I'm saying? The Don. I can't get away from you at the moment, really. Just, you know, I can't get away from you, man. With DR, all the cookings, all this, that, and the other. But actually, in a weird way, in terms of us going head to head, I have got away from you because that game was so early in the season, and this one's all the way now. So it's like we've just been enjoying cooking other people, but now, bro, speak.
It's arrived. That game has arrived.
I mean, you're going for the title. It's obviously must win. There's no excuses for Arsenal. You can't draw. You definitely can't lose. From our perspective, Jesus Christ. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. There's just new levels of chaos, more injuries. At the time of recording, I have seen that Lisandro Martinez and Rashford are back in training. But Leach has been out a long time. I don't think he'll play or start. Rashford's been out a while. Don't think he'll start. Bruno, he's not back in training yet, so that's not a good sign. But if anyone could not really train for the week after coming back off it's him, because he's only missed one game his whole entire career. So are you what? Easy, light work? Come Old Trafford, smoking one of them Don cigars that you're smoking? Easy?
No. Listen, it's not easy because our record there recently has not been great. You know, we won there in 2020, that COVID year.
Thing, yeah.
Had a couple of draws there. Last year lost 3-1 when I thought we played very well that day. I couldn't believe we lost the game.
And the year before,
year before Ronaldo penalty.
No, hat-trick, innit?
Was it Ronaldo had the penalty?
I can't remember. Odegaard fouled.
Fred. So again, we played pretty well that day, didn't win. So, you know, can't be jumping up and down and saying that, you know, it's going to be light work. However, you know, I've been watching Man United all season. You can't, you know, Man United are Man United, so you see all their games. And I have to say that, you know, I'm pretty confident that we can go there and get a result. I've been watching us, obviously, every single game. We've been brilliant away from home this season. We've had a rock-solid defence away from home, and we've been brilliant in attack. And when we get it right away from home, we take teams apart. And I just feel that, we've got so much to play for in that game. There's so much on it for us. I feel with United, you know, is Europe still a possibility? I guess it is still a possibility, but I think I'm not expecting you guys to be as bad as you were against Crystal Palace. You know what I mean? You're not going to play that bad. You're going to, you know, there were mitigating circumstances. You did have a lot of injuries and stuff like that, but not to say you weren't bad, you were bad.
Still shocking.
But I don't expect you to be as bad as that against us. But I just know that if the Arsenal turn up at that game, I'm confident we'll win. That's my feelings.
I've got a lot of fears around this game regarding what you're saying in terms of if Arsenal turn up how they've been turning up. And we do what we have been doing, which is give teams 17 shots at our goal. I don't see how there can be any other outcome, and that's not being pessimistic. It's just I can't see.
That's been the surprising for me.
You know what I mean? But football's a funny game. At Old Trafford, I think you're right, and I'm trying to get out of this. Is that I don't think we'll be as bad as against Palace.
No, you won't be.
But if we have to roll out a very similar team. Like, let's say you have to play Johnny Evans and Casemiro again. Bridget.
I don't
Could be a 5-0, mate. It could be a 5-0 just off of that having to happen alone. Because Casemiro, with where he's at and how he's moving, if Mateta's doing that to him, and, you know what I mean, Elise saying him, what's it going to look like when Saka cuts in off the game? What's it going to look like when Odegaard gets a run and gets on a half turn, or Declan Rice come powering through and Havertz dropping off what's it going to look like then? What's it going to look like with Trossard, who will probably start on the left, you know what I mean, coming in and getting into Casemiro's space and quick fit. What's it going to look like then? So, look, there's a way that we could lose this really, really badly, and that's what I'm most fearful of that big embarrassment. in this game. On the flip side, the only bit of hope we've got is that Man United got a chance of doing okay in this game if there's better individuals on the pitch. We're not a good team. So therefore, we have to look to individuals, and individuals can give us moments. So if we've got Bruno on the pitch, if we've got Rashford on the pitch, you know what I mean, these types of guys, obviously Garnacho, those guys can give you a moment. But it also needs to be like a drop-off from you. So Liverpool, for example, when we played them in the League One, the second game, they were 1-0 up at half-time, cruising. Should have been 3-0 up, but wasn't.
Yeah.
Then Jarell Quansah just gave the ball to Bruno.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then Kobbie Mainoo did something amazing.
Yeah.
We still wasn't great in the game. And I just feel that the football Arsenal play.
That's what I've seen a lot. You know, when I assess Man United, that's what I've seen a lot of this season. It's just individuals. So Bruno Fernandes comes up with brilliance. Like you said, Mainoo, brilliance. Individual moments of brilliance. But sometimes in a tight game, that's enough.
Yeah.
Right? And a draw would be a bad result for us.
Absolutely.
Right? Normally, if I'm coming to Old Trafford, I'm like, I'll be comfortable with a draw because it's a difficult place to come to. But we need to win this game, and United are going to know that. And they're going to, you know, I feel that Ten Hag will deploy quite a low block.
It's got to.
It's going to sit in, try to frustrate. We will get a lot of shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about us taking our chances, because I feel that that's the thing when you're playing Manchester United. If you don't take your chances, they have players of real qualities. They have that can score goals. They have moments in games where it might be a counter-attack with Rashford or Garnacho where they can hurt you. So, you know, but what I'm encouraged by with Arsenal is we've had some real pressurised games recently. You know, that game against Tottenham, pressure was on us. Like, we're going away to Tottenham. We know that their only mission in life was to stop Arsenal from winning the league.
As Abby's told us.
Yeah, and, you know, we were 3-0 up at half-time, and we should have went 4-0 up. I don't know if you remember, there was a chance at Saka.
Oh, yeah, Saka on Keaty.
Yeah, and then we stupidly let them back into the games, which was so not like
but
us.
But that was your own doing.
Yeah, we haven't really been doing that in games. We've been rock solid in defence. So, but I've liked the coldness of Arsenal in certain games. Then we followed that up, Chelsea at home. Their sole purpose, stop Arsenal. It weren't like they've gone on a little run since we beat them that 5-0. But up until then, they were kind of having a terrible time of things. And, you know, they just wanted to stop us, right? And we cold destroyed them. You know, the Bournemouth game, you know, really played some great football in there. The team's confident at the moment. It's like, for the first time all season, everybody's fit. It's crazy because we've gone the whole season, this guy's out, that guy's out. You know, we haven't had as many injuries as you, obviously, but we've been missing some very important players. They're all back now. Even Jurriën Timber's available. So there's no excuse for the team. We can put our best, what Mikel Arteta feels is the best team out on the day. And then these players are on form, like Trossard. He's on fire at the moment. Havertz has been excellent. He's been on fire. Saka's really back in form now as well. Odegaard, Rice, and then Partey's come back in there. He's allowed those two to really get on their game. And then the two centre-halves have been brilliant. It's scandalous that they've not been, you know, put forward for Player of the Year.
Van Dijk has,
you know.
yeah.
I mean, Saliba's been better than Van Dijk this season. Van Dijk's a top player, but Saliba's been better than him. So has Gabriel, in my opinion. You know, Ben White has been playing well. Raya's just got the golden glove. I mean, listen, when you look at it like that, the team...
Should be easy, mate. Yeah?
Nah, but it's the Premier League, and the Premier League is not easy. You know what I mean? I can look at United and say, well, Sheffield United went there and they were a couple of goals up. They were winning 2-1. They were leading twice, Sheffield United. Yeah. Burnley went there and got... I'm looking at all
Bournemouth
these... and
licked us up 3-0.
Bournemouth.
Fulham beat us.
But I feel when it comes to a game like this, it's going to be different. But I do feel that if the best version of Arsenal turns up, we'll win the game. And we're playing very well this season. You know what I mean? It's not been a fluke what you've seen with Arsenal. They've been playing very, very well this season. You know what I mean? Liverpool played us in 2 games, didn't beat us. We beat Liverpool at home. We drew with them at Anfield. City have not beaten us this season. We played them 3 times. They haven't beaten us. We've had the best defence in the league statistically. Best attack, scored the most goals. But we're not top of the league, you know what I mean?
Not top of the league.
And you can slip up. We slipped up in that game against Villa. So, and you're up against a team in
West
Man
Ham
City.
came and beat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real ones where you're looking at how's that happening.
True.
No, yes.
The only one I could say, like the Villa one,
yeah,
because we were playing, we had a lot to play for that day, and we really messed up. That West Ham one was one of those games where we had about 30 shots. And so...
But football does that.
But football does.
And
listen,
if you
and
do
that's
that
why
against Man United and don't score, which
it's
is
exactly what I
saying,
said. Yeah, and United have got quality. I'm looking at United, obviously the rivalry that's been there over the years, and sometimes I can't believe what I'm watching. I can't, because I'm just like, despite the injuries, despite everything, they've got a lot of very good players. It shouldn't be as bad as I'm not saying United shouldn't be challenging, but I do think United, even with what's gone on this season, should be knocking on the door of the top four. I really do. I don't understand how it's got this bad at United. But then we had similar circumstances at Arsenal, say probably about 3-4 years ago, where we had so many players that just needed to go. And I see the similarities at Manchester United, and it's going to be a lot of pain for United fans. To change it, that's not an easy thing, because we had it at Arsenal. We had players on big contracts. Mesut Ozil, they had to literally just pay him to leave. They had to pay Aubameyang to leave. They had to pay Kolasinac to leave. They had to pay a whole host of players. Bellerin, Nicolas Pepe. Just literally had to just like swallow the loss. We had no players basically we could sell. When you looked at Arsenal's team and you said, right, who could we actually sell to raise a bit of money? The only players would be like Saka and Smith Rowe at that time.
Yeah.
Nobody else of any value of whatsoever. And they've had to literally change around the whole of that. And they've had young players come through in Saka and Smith Rowe. They were the ones who sort of started it off. And then I think Arteta's bought well. A lot of the
everything
things...
has to change. The
everything
thing about
has
Arsenal,
to
and
change.
there's a lot of fans, Man United fans, that are bringing in parallels with the Arteta situation and the Arsenal situation, which we're going to talk about with James as well. By the time you're watching this, it's probably out already. Big up, James. But I wanted to get your opinion on that, though, in terms of like, do you think there are parallels between the two, or is it like, nah, man, you had a worse team, like you didn't have the money that you've wasted.
No, we had a worse team.
The upstairs. When was it that Josh Kroenke and Edu they pressed the button and went, we're not doing this anymore.
There were parallels, right? So there's parallels. So we had a worse team than you guys have got right now. Worse, right? When we finished 8th, right, we were 8th. We had a worse team, and we had to make a lot of changes. And then we had the parallels. There's a lot of parallels, because one of the parallels were there was a battle in the boardroom. All right, so yours is a bit different because you've had owners that ain't been doing nothing for years. We had owners that weren't doing nothing for years because they also had another owner who owned a big percentage, who they were not going to go all out. Usmanov. Yeah. They weren't going to go all out until he went. They're like, we ain't spending our big money until this guy's gone. Once they got rid of him, then they started to invest into the team. So,
but did your football department change? So when was the bit when Edu came?
Yeah, so that's starting to now. You're starting to see Edu come in. Changes start to be made, a bit like what you guys are doing now in changing. So you start to see better transfers of better players, and not just buying what I call off-the-shelf players. So like you buy a player that
Ben White's not.
Ramsdale's
not.
So you start to see him buying players, and you're like, I remember when we bought Ben White. I'm like, Ben White, I've seen him playing at Leeds on loan. He looked really good. Seen him at Brighton, but
wouldn't think he was Arsenal quality as well.
50 million for Ben White. That's a bit much. That's all right. Well, I'll go with it. Turned out to be a great signing. Havertz this season. It's like, boy, are we sure? But he's, the manager knows why he's buying these players. So there's a lot of parallels. And then there's a lot of players that you have to move out.
Yeah. That's our biggest thing.
Players that you have to shift out, because what was happening at Arsenal, there were players that I always used to say, we give ratings to certain players that didn't deserve it. They were average. But because they play for Arsenal and we support Arsenal, now we go, oh, he's a great player, yeah, he's good. They weren't.
You have to break it down players. And go, what's he really done?
You've got to start moving those players out, and there's going to be a lot of pain in that, because there's going to be a lot of players that you can't move out easily because they're on massive wages, they're on
we've got
big
that bigger
long
than
contracts.
You.
Yeah.
I mean, Martial, let me just let you into where we're at, yeah? Martial is only just coming to the end of his 250 grand a week contract now. He hasn't completed 90 minutes in 3 years.
Crazy.
Casemiro, in the summer, will have 3 years left.
Yeah, that's mad. At
350 grand a week, top earner. Rafael Varane, he's my favourite, but he's not available. He's coming to the end of it or going a free. Harry Maguire, Man United tried to sell him last year, couldn't. He went, nope, I ain't ready to leave yet, mate. Simple things.
Yeah, that's the mess.
You know what I mean? We've just bought Anthony
bad recruitment
on big money. Look at that. Bad recruitment, and we're feeling the brunt of it. Rashford, whether you think he should go or not, he's only just got a new deal. Big money, pretty much 400 grand a week, a little bit less maybe. The Jadon Sancho situation, there needs to be, we're going to have to take a loss on that. There's a lot there. And that's what you're saying, to unpick it and to move it on. It's like, we're in a mess, but that's what I do believe personally, that like Ineos coming in, I think they're showing real intent already to get a proper football department.
They've got a big summer. They've got a big summer ahead, and I think what happens is if the fans start to see positive decisions, they'll go with it. Yeah. They'll ride with it. They'll accept that, you know, even though it's Man United, no, we can't win the league this season. We need to. Yeah, there's a rebuilding process going on, so that needs to be articulated over to the fans. And I think they did that quite well at Arsenal. And then you've got to bring the fans back on board. And I think Arteta did that brilliantly. He spoke about that when he first come in, about bringing the fans and the team closer. And I just think we've made some very shrewd buys, and players like Martin Odegaard, you know what I mean? £35 million. Look how good he is now.
Worth now today?
Yeah, and then even when they have spent big, they've gotten big with players like Declan Rice is worth. He's worth the money.
You picked the right one.
So you know, there's a big rebuilding process to be done at Manchester United, and you know, listen, even though there's that big rivalry between Arsenal and Manchester United, right, and maybe I laugh and cook and that, you want to see a strong Man United for this league. You know what I mean? Because Man United are traditionally one of the, you know, the powerhouses of football. You want to see, I don't want to see United winning the league, right? But, you know, you want to see United
up there.
I've watched United this season sometimes. I'm like, that's not United. That's just, all I'm watching is the brand United. Yeah. That's not Man United, that's brand United. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, there's a lot of overhauling, and you can't be fooling yourself. Like, we do it as fans, owners do it, where they start to think, well, we're Man United.
We'll be all right, yeah.
You have to realise where you are.
Will change. Do you think Ten Hag can turn it around if he stays in? Because I know you guys have been there with Arteta, and he's had some rough times, and I was talking to Turkish Cecil about this. Arteta went through a period, I know, I'm not saying like the results were this bad or the records, forget all that. I'm talking about the perception of the manager, where it's like, this guy's not it, it's too big for it, it's not it. Yeah. There's some happening with that. Do you think Man United should stick with it?
I could see though what Arteta was trying to do. I could see a style of play, I could see what he was trying to, that's my problem with Ten Hag. I watch him, I'm like, well, what are United? What's the style? What, you a counter-attack, defence, attack, I don't know. And then, it's the two things, that and then the recruitment.
Which hopefully,
if I was the owner of Manchester United, would I trust Ten Hag based off of some of the players that he's brought in? And these are players that he knows. He's worked with Anthony, he's worked with Onana. Would I trust him with the money? And that's why I think he has to win the FA Cup. To me, I don't know. Just for me, from the outside, if Ten Hag wins the FA Cup, you give him another chance.
Really? So that's enough to not the 38 games of what we see.
Listen, if it's been a horrendous season, right? Arteta, when he came in first, right, horrendous. He won the FA Cup, beat City in the semi-final, Chelsea in the final. Fans are like, there ain't no way you could sack this guy. You know what I mean? We won a trophy.
That was his first season.
It was his first season, but even then,
that half a season.
That went into the next season as well. He won a trophy thing. You know, and we could see, remember, we could see things. Like, we got to, you know, a semi-final of Europa League, but we could see things. But with Ten Hag, I think, last season, give him credit, he won a trophy, he stabilised things. But now I think after this season, horrendous, when I see some of the stats of the shots conceded and that, I'm like, well, that's not acceptable as a United manager. Even though you have to understand, I'm contradicting slightly because you've got to understand where you're at But I feel for him personally to retain his job, he has to win the FA Cup, because you win the FA Cup now, you beat Man City in the final, you've won a trophy, you look back at it and say, we've had a horrendous season, but we won silverware, we won an FA Cup, that's a big trophy to win. Right, next season, let's get back on track, you've won 2 trophies, then you keep your job. I think it'd be very harsh if he won the FA Cup and he got sacked. I think that'd be harsh.
Give United a chance in the final against City?
But I feel that if he loses the FA Cup, well, it's cup competitions, man.
Yeah.
Borussia Dortmund are in the final of the Champions League. Yeah. They're not the best team.
They're fifth in the league.
They're not. Look at them in Germany.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's cup competitions.
But that's what I'm saying. It can mask a lot of the things.
It can do.
To square one again. The real measure of where we are is conceding 17 goals every single game, week in, week out.
Then the other thing I ask you, Flex, is who's that manager out there?
And that's one of the things that I think will help Ten Hag.
But then again, where I got to credit the owners of Arsenal, they thought out of the box by bringing in Arteta. Arteta was nobody's pick. I can tell you, you know the channel, I speak to everybody. Nobody said, why don't we get Mikel Arteta? That was no one's pick. We brought in Arteta. Everybody was like, we should go for more experience. We should go banding loads of names around. They went for this guy. He's young, he's hungry, he's got an idea of what he wants to do. Maybe, again, these are the sort of things United need to start looking at. When they're buying players, don't just buy the obvious. As I said, that player that, you buy off the shelf. Start thinking deeper about, There's certain players I see playing in the Premier League, I'm like, why didn't United could have got him? Kudos, who's playing at...
chose Anthony instead, mate.
Yeah, Kudos, who's playing at West Ham. Why didn't United get a player like that? He would have thrived at United. I just don't, So I think he has to win. He has to win that FA Cup in my books.
Yeah,
too.
I hear you on that. Predictions, because it's all said and done now. You said how good the mighty Arsenal are, scoring all these goals, conceding hardly any goals. Goalkeeper's got the golden glove. The recruitment's all perfect, and it's all.
You do what you always do now.
I'm just saying, because if you don't win this game, there is shameless and there is shameless on DR. There is. After what you lot did to me as well. Yeah.
Listen, I had nothing to do with that, by the way.
Yeah, you always say that.
No, I didn't.
Tottenham think, I didn't know. You never know nothing. But you're
serious, I had nothing to do with that, right? I came in and I saw that. I was like, oh, okay.
But
right?
Let me tell you now, if you even draw this game on Monday.
Listen, if we, the reality of it is, if we draw it, it's over.
It's over.
It's over for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's over.
It's just, there's no getting around that. It's a pressurised game.
Especially with the City playing first.
Yeah.
Like, it could just be business as usual, like City have won, so we need to go.
Yeah. Or
you never know.
City drop points.
If City drop points, it's like you also have to win to get the gap.
Can't afford to lose the game. I don't think we're going to lose. I'm
What's your
going.
prediction?
I'm going 3-1 to Arsenal. I'm going 3-1 to Arsenal. We've been very good away from home this season. Very good. You know what I mean? I think the only one of the top teams that have beaten us is Villa. Yeah. Away from home. We've been good.
And Newcastle.
And that Newcastle game was, don't get me started on that. You know what I mean?
Between you and AGT.
That could be the difference, right? We could have won us the league. But so we've been very good away from home. And even those losses were quite a while back. You know what I mean? We're
recently
we got even better away from home recently. So I've got to have confidence in it. And the prize is too big to go after. And if we don't win, it's City, isn't it? It's City's trophy yet again. What I want to see is Arsenal take this at least to the last day. Yeah. At least to the last day.
And you've done all you can, innit?
And we've done what we can, and then, and I look at Arsenal and I say, boy, I feel we'll be back again next season. Yeah. And if we make a couple of additions, so we're pushing in the right direction. I'm going to go for 3-1.
3-1 for Robbie. Boy.
Peak, right?
Yeah, it's peak, man. Because with my footballing brain, man. The midfield, I would just get done. I can see Højlund just going long periods without touching the ball, just getting gobbled up by Saliba and Gabriel. I can't see him causing them problems. We don't play to him. We don't play through him. We don't play for him.
Felt a bit sorry for him. So.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, he's just a young kid who's just
20.
not there. Do you know what I mean? So he's going to get nyam up by them too. I don't even know who's back, who can start. It's not looking good. Having said that, though, have to have a glimmer of something. I'm going to go with a draw.
Draw, okay.
I'm going to go with a draw. But deep down,
which again, that'd be,
I don't really think.
you know, in seasons gone by, you go to Old Trafford, you get a draw.
But it's not good enough this time.
You know what I mean? But this time, we have to win. And I think, you know, I like the coldness we showed when we went to Spurs. I like the coldness we showed against Chelsea, Bournemouth.
Ruthless, man.
You know what I mean? There's the ruthlessness about it. We just got to take our chances. We'll create chances.
Absolutely.
Then we've got to take them.
Guys, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. You guys know where to find Robbie at AFTV and DR Sports. What are you lot saying in the comments? You know, have you got a glimmer of hope now? Are you thinking, actually, you know, Martinez is back in training, Rashford's back in training, could we get a few more over the line? Let us know what you're thinking, or you're thinking we're just done out. Because that Crystal Palace game, guys, we all said it and felt it at the time. I know, like, things change as you get closer to the next game, but you can't forget that feeling of, look at us, look at this team, and we're about to play Arsenal. I thought it was a funny game. Take care. See you soon. Peace.